if anyone has questions, please either send it in the chat or reach out to Amir and myself. Amir will put our emails in the chat, so feel free to reach out. Thanks. Dolly, give it back to you.
Okay, thanks, Nat. Let's get started with today's lab. So I just shared the link of this GitHub public repository to the chat. Here on the main branch, this is a general overview of the mini project we're going to do. So this project consists of 3 parts. So the first part is about Terraform. We use Terraform to provision our infrastructure, such as VPC, subnets, security groups, net gateway, route table, EC2 instance. Then the next part is to use Ansible to install the necessary packages on those EC2 instance, and then pull the Docker image from the Docker Hub and run an instance of those Docker images on all those EC2 instances. The third part of this project is about using GitHub Actions to create CI/CD pipelines for both DevOps teams and developers team. So the CI/CD pipeline for the developer team is about when the developers finish developing their job, they push their code to a GitHub repository, and then at this time the GitHub action will be triggered. It will run a unit test and then build a Docker image and then push the Docker image to the Docker Hub. And then the master node of the DevOps team, it will pull the latest image from the Docker Hub and deploy it on the EC2 instance. I hope you guys joined the last workshop. It was about Ansible. No, it was about Terraform, and today we're going to talk about Ansible. So the code about today's workshop is stored in the feature/Ansible branch. Here we have another README file. What is Ansible? So Ansible is a open source community project sponsored by Red Hat. It's very simple. Everybody can learn it. It's agentless, meaning that you don't have to install any additional software on the worker nodes so that they're able to work with Ansible. It is an automation tool that saves you from repetitive system management works. It's very powerful. It can automate very complex tasks, and the configuration files of it are written in YAML format. So this is basically how Ansible works. You install Ansible on a master node, and then send commands or run execute commands on a group of worker nodes through SSH. Of course, you need to at first, copy your SSH public key to all the worker nodes. Installation. How to install Ansible is beyond the scope of today's lab. You can find the instructions on the Ansible official documentation here. On different operation systems, there's a different tool for you to install Ansible. Okay, let's go back to the main branch and clone this GitHub repository. I'm using Visual Studio Code as my IDE. Visual Studio Code. Clone Git repository. I'll put it on my desktop. So now we're at the main branch. Let's check out a new local branch. I call it feature Ansible. Git check out the feature Ansible from this remote branch. And now I'm in the feature Ansible branch. The code of today's lab is in my Playbook.yaml, and I will go through all of them tonight with you. So in Ansible, there are two configuration files we need to pay attention to. One is the ansible.cfg. This is a configuration file which stores some Ansible settings. And Ansible will search for this file in this order. First, the Ansible config, that's the environmental variable. The second directory it will look at is the current directory. The third directory it will look at is the tilde.ansible.cfg, and the last one is this one. And in this file, you can, assign some values to the variables. For example, host key checking. When you SSH to a new virtual machine or EC2 instance or Azure virtual machine, you need to add the information of the remote virtual machine to your known host file on your laptop. I believe it's located here, cd/.ssh/known host. Yes, this file. So a new record will be added to this file when you SSH to a new server. But if we set it to false, then it will disable Ansible to go through the host key checking process. Inventory equals host, so this assigns the location of the inventory file to this inventory variable. Command warnings, deprecation warnings, they're easy to understand. Interpreter Python. So Ansible use Python to execute all the commands, and you can force Ansible to use user bin Python 3 as your default interpreter. Otherwise, it might use like Python 2 to execute all the commands. Here's a link to the documentation of Ansible.cfg file. You can look at it if you're interested. And for me, this is good enough. The other configuration file we need to focus on is the inventory. So Ansible.cfg is to store Ansible settings, and inventory is the file where you store the target nodes, or we can call them like worker nodes. Here's an example. this part is the name of the host, or we can call it the alias of the host. And Ansible host equals to the IP address of the host. And this is another host, and host name, host address, host name, host address. So we have 3 hosts here. Then we can put them in a group. I call this group Devops Bootcamp servers. This is the group name of these 3 hosts. And we can define the variables for this group. Ansible user is EC2 user. That's the default user of EC2 Amazon Linux image. And this is another variable, Ansible SSH-private key file. You assign the location of your private key. This is the default location of your SSH private key. When everything is set up, we need to test that whether you're able to connect to your target nodes. This is the command you can run. Let's create a VPC and 3 worker nodes. So if you join the last workshop, you know that we can use Ansible, Terraform to do all of this in 1 or 2 commands. Now I'm in the feature Ansible branch. Let's navigate to Terraform EC2 workshop folder at first. CD. Let me make this word bigger. CD Terraform. Before we run all the commands, we need to initialize this project. So Terraform init. So Terraform init will download all the necessary plugins. So it will detect all the plugins you use in the script and then download all the plugins for you. When this is done, run Terraform apply auto approve. So here we only have 2 EC2 instance. Plugins not response. Wait a minute. So I believe it was like a internet issue. So now it's creating a VPC, SSH key, subnet, like all the necessary infrastructure components. Here we can see 3 EC2 instances are pending. Okay, all of them are running right now. So this Terraform also creates a hosts file for Ansible in the Ansible lab directory. This file is exactly the same with the example in the README file here, except for the IP addresses, of course. So now we have the Ansible.cfg, the configuration file, which stores Ansible settings, and the inventory file, which stores the information of your EC2 instances. Also, when Terraform created this 3 EC2 instances, it also passed my public SSH key to all these 3 EC2 instances, so I can skip that step. And then let's navigate to the Ansible directory, cd Ansible lab. We can ping, use the ping module to test whether we are able to connect to all these 3 EC2 instances. So Ansible, this is the group name of these 3 EC2 instances. So I just copy and paste them here. And -m, which stands for module, and the module name is ping. Okay, success for all of them. This is the results of the product server. This is the results from the dev server and test server. Okay, let's introduce some Ansible ad hoc commands. So Ansible uses modules to send ad hoc commands and execute all those commands on the EC2 instances or the worker nodes. So for example, let's see the disk space usage of all 3 worker nodes. So Ansible, which is the tool name, Devops Bootcamp servers, that's the group name of this worker nodes, and -a, that stands for argument, module arguments. And usually we will add -m and module name in the middle of the command. However, if we don't use this, Ansible will use the default module, which is the command module. So when we run this command, it will automatically use the command module. And here it returns all the disk space usage. From all 3 worker nodes. So pattern, what is pattern? So pattern is the targeting hosts and groups. It can be a group name of hosts, or you can use the host name. For example, this one, Devops Bootcamp Dev. We can replace the group name with a host name so that it only returns the disk usage of 1 worker node. And we can let it return the disk usage of 2 worker nodes. Plot. Here, that's the information of 2 worker nodes. So Ansible, pattern, and -m, module name, -a, commands or arguments of the module. Modules, also called task plugins or library plugins, they're discrete units of code that Ansible uses in command line or the playbooks. So for example, there's a different modules such as command, that's the default module, script, that's another module, yarn, and service, that's very often used when we're running Ansible ad hoc commands, and they're often used in Ansible Playbook as well. So let's run the other commands. Ansible Devops Bootcamp servers -a free -m. That's the command which allows you to check the memory usage of all the worker nodes. This date allows you to check the date on all the work nodes. Docker PS, if you are familiar with Docker, you know this is a command to see all the running instances in Docker. This will fail because we haven't installed Docker on those EC2 servers. So as we expected, this failed. Other modules such as command, we talked about command. What about yum? So yum, is the package manager on of CentOS. We use yum to install Docker. This is the command. So Ansible, that's the tool name. Devops Bootcamp server, that's the group name, or we can call it the pattern. -m, yum is the module, -a, and this is the argument. So in the yum module, there's an argument called name. That's the package you're going to install. The name is Docker, and the state present. You can find documentations of all modules in this link. Here's an index of all modules, and click into one of them. You can see the parameters, attributes, and also examples, like how to use this module. Everything is written clearly in this documentation. Okay, let's run this command. This will install Docker for us on all 3 worker nodes. You need to be root to perform this command. So when we are running this command, because we set here, because we set the Ansible user to be EC2 user, which is not the root user. So we are not allowed to execute this command. So to make this command work, we need to add a new flag called -b. So I will add it here, -b. So -b stands for become root. So that way you become the root user when you are executing this command, or all 3 EC2 instances. Okay, it returned a bunch of results, and I believe now the Docker has been installed on all 3 EC2 instances. So, it's very convenient to use Ansible Ad Hoc command to run, to execute commands on all the worker nodes. However, we still don't want to run commands manually. We want to put them together in one script. That's where the playbook comes in. So the playbook is written in YAML format. It is a set of instructions for Ansible to work on. Basically, it is a ordered list of Ansible ad hoc commands in a YAML format. For example, this one, when we transform it to the YAML format, it will look like the first part of the Ansible command. So in each playbook, in each play, there are 3 components: name, host, and tasks. Name, this is the name of the play. You can customize it. Host, that's where you define your target nodes. You can put the host name here, or you can put the group name here. Become, we set become to yes, which means we're executing the tasks with the root privilege. And tasks, that's a list of actions you're going to execute. And in the tasks is just a list of actions to be executed. So this is a task, and this is another task. This is the 3rd task. In each task, you have a name, and then the module you would like to use, and then the module arguments. So the name is install Docker. The module we use, in this case, is Yum, and the package name is Docker. Update cache, we set it to yes, and state is present. So this script makes sure that a Docker package will be installed in the target nodes. And let's take a look at the rest of the script. That's the name of another task: install Docker Compose. Get URL, that's the module it uses. And here's the URL and the destination. You can get all those arguments from the get URL documentation. You can take a look at it when you're available, or if you're interested. This is the 3rd task. We use systemd. Sorry, I got a fraud call. This is the name of the 3rd task. Start Docker, we use systemd as the module, and name is Docker. So we're going to use systemd to start the Docker service. The 4th task, very similar. We use the user module. Here we use the meta module to reset connection, because when you add an EC2 user to a Docker group, you have to reset the connection. Basically, you have to exit and then SSH to that EC2 instance again, so that the add user process can take effect. Pip install request, you use the pip module to install request and Docker. And then here you pull a Docker image. And then you, after you pull the image, you run the Docker app. So this part will pull your web application Docker image to the worker nodes, and then run an instance and name the instance my web app. This is the address of the image, and it maps port 80 from the local host to the port 80 in the Docker instance, Docker container, sorry. Here it shows you the container information, and we stored it in a register, and we use debug module to show the container information in the terminal. So now we have a Ansible script. In this workshop, we're going to install Docker, add a EC2 user to the Docker group, pull my web page Docker image, and run a container of that image and check the status of the container. So to run this Playbook, the command is very simple. You simply type Ansible -playbook -i hosts. -i allows you to specify which inventory file you're going to use. So we can add it in our command, or we can add it to the Ansible CFG file. So we set inventory to hosts already here, so we don't have to add that to the command. So simply you type Ansible playbook, and then the name of the playbook, my playbook.yaml. Okay, hit enter. So it will execute all the tasks in your playbook in order. The first task, install Docker Compose, start Docker, add EC2 user to Docker group, reconnect to server, install requests, pull image, run web app, container status, and then it shows all the information about containers in your terminal. Okay, it executed 10 tasks, changed 6 of them. And let's go to our EC2 instances. Choose this one, copy the IP address of the EC2 instance and paste in your browser. Okay, so this is a very simple web application. Welcome WeCloudData, and if we go to another directory, courses, Devops AI. So that's basically it. We introduced Ansible. We introduced Ansible configuration file and inventory file. We introduced Ansible Ad Hoc Commands and how to convert the ad hoc commands into a playbook. And we introduced the command to execute your playbook. So Ansible can be used to install packages, create user, start a service, stop a service, reset something, reconnect, reboot your remote servers. Can do many things with Ansible. Also, you can use it to deploy your web applications as well. There are some other interesting commands such as Ansible inventory list. So this shows a list of your hosts and gives all the information about the host. And another interesting command is Ansible inventory graph. This gives you a graph. So this is the group name. That's the bootcamp server. Under it, there are 3 names of the worker nodes. All right, that's it. We're done. And in the next workshop, we're going to talk about GitHub Actions, and we're going to use GitHub Actions to build our pipelines. That's it.
All right,
Amir,
sounds great.
do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so I just want to let everyone know I already put it in the chat box. if you guys interested in the DevOps Bootcamp, for the first 10 students who are going to register for the upcoming cohort, starting by the end of September, beginning of October, we are actually offering the real business projects for free, which actually worth $7,000, 5,000 something USD. So you can actually work directly with one of our clients, including Fortune 500, during the time that you are actually taking the boot camp. So if you're interested in, let me know. You can actually, let me type my email address. I actually left it in my message actually. So feel free to send me an email if that's something you're interested in. So I can walk you through more details, or even if you're not necessarily looking to take any training, I'm still more than happy to share some of my experience and insight after working with many hiring managers and industry leaders for 3 years, in the past 3 years. I would be more than happy to share. So thank you again for joining us today. Do you guys have any questions, by the way? You have been very quiet today. We had a very quiet session. There was no interaction. So do you guys feel free to speak up if you want to leave any comments or anything you have in mind to share with everyone.
By the way, this session is recorded and the video, I believe, will be posted on YouTube later, maybe in 1 week, 1 or 2 weeks.
Exactly. We also send you, so because you actually, by the time that you registered by the email that you left, actually we will send in like the Zoom recordings of this session over your email. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us again. Please keep coming to our upcoming webinars and panel discussion to get the most out of what we offer. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, Amir. Thank you, everybody.